Bad news is to beat your home, nigga. Yeah. Go on, get on that ass real quick one time. 144, baby.
They said you get on, you gon' represent. I said, of course. Soon as they trade that beat, I ride that bitch just like a horse. She about to go dumb, yeah, bitch, me a whole car. You ain't know they call me Obi-Wan. I go with the force. You gon' ride, yeah, of course. Get it lit up like a torch. You even low on this Lord, so that bitch is either or. Yeah, I know them niggas ain't cut like that. I swear I'm to our core. Wait up, let me make a call right quick. I'ma start another war. I was hurting when she left, but I don't care about it anymore. I need a Vaseline like my Nina Puffer bar. Took a Zach, watch the dark. Matter of fact, like a dart. Any problem, let them come. We gon' snatch they soul like Shang-Chi. Put them out of service, keep them tools like Miss Harvey. Try to hope it's way too late. I'm headed straight to the safe. Throw that one up like a trophy. I'm that nigga, ain't no debate. Told them boys we taking over. Call them up like set the date. This shit a piece of cake. Yeah, my bitches came from Whole Foods. Told them put on that top 3. Then bring me my house shoes. Don't make excuses, make moves. These niggas ungrateful, gotta show them UBK rules. I make hits like I can't lose. They said you get on, you gon' represent. I said of course. Soon as they trade that beat, I ride that bitch just like a horse. She about to go dumb, yeah, bitch, the whole court. You ain't know they call me Obi-Wan. I come with the force. You gon' ride, yeah, of course. Get it lit up like a torch. You even low on this Lord, so that bitch is either or. Yeah, I know them niggas ain't cut like that. I swear I'm to our court. Yeah, I just got off the call. I'ma start another war. Spit a plate up with my niggas, get your knife and your fork. He ain't locked in with the count and with the speaking to me far. Yeah, I just took the floor. Ain't no cowards in my campaign. They can't stop the campaign. Tell them bring the champagne. They know I'm a champion. They can see the outcome. Get them niggas bad, got them tied down and outdone. You can't do with them steps, them niggas been down since day one. We run up the bands, bitch, like Dylan. They say you get on, you gon' represent. I said, of course. Soon as they create that beat, I read that bitch just like a horse. Yeah, about to go dumb, yeah, bitch, we whole start. You ain't know they call me Obi-Wan. I come with the force. You gon' ride, yeah, of course. Get it lit up like a torch. You either low or this low, so that bitch is either or. I told you niggas, you ain't cut like that. I swear I'm to our car. And I just made it call. We gon' start another war. Yeah.
According to God, the white man is the devil.
See, I've been in here for a little minute. You know what I'm saying? And I see niggas, they like to talk a lot. They like to claim leadership. They like to claim this and that. You know what I'm saying? They like to be above what they really is and have authority. But they don't really need that authority. They don't really know what to do with that leadership. You understand? You hold hands with this white man. Need to stop and ask you to give a damn what you talk about. Don't give a fuck what you believe, nigga. Gotta stand up and serve my God. We don't pray on our knees, nigga. Yeah. See, everybody ain't with all that peace talk. Everybody ain't with all that bygone beat. Boy, ask you to stop and ask you to prop. It's about to get serious. When they hit us with dope and kill us with crack, where the fuck with your leaders? I'm curious. He cashed out on your blood, traded you in and bought a new biz. Ask you the prophets, I tell you the scheme. If you don't wake up, you gon' die in your dreams. I say you won't tell you no more. I swear these crackers try to kill us slow. Just spoke to a nigga and fed he up on parole because of the COVID. It feel like the host in this world that don't go together. Nowhere is gold in the ghetto. I'm in the city blazing with my niggas. Just told the devil the score never settled. Yeah, see the prophets. I'm tired of these niggas keep talking about, you know, you respect my religion, I respect your religion. Boy, your ass need to stop and ask you the prophets. You know, like we all come together. Cause you know, they say God so loved the world. God so loved the world, and no, boy, your ass need to stop and ask you the prophets. Don't give a damn what you talk about. Don't give a fuck what you believe, nigga. Gotta stand up and serve my God. We don't pray on our knees, nigga. Yeah. Hey, gentlemen, y'all, we don't pray on our knees, nigga. Gotta stand up. You know what I'm saying? Boy, your ass need to stop and ask you to one step. I'm solid for show. To the fake niggas, stay silent. I got it. Let's go. Let's go. I ain't taking no losses. Ain't no talking when we got the flow. Ain't no peace, just play with you. I'ma be loyal to the right arm. Tell them we can't keep it slate. And I can never let bygone be bygone. Got your baby mother on high. Got your baby pass through the fire. Ask you the prophets. That baby so your law, I dare you abort it. You devil will failure, bitch, I can afford it. I prepare slaughter, you bring me my water. Push your leaders weak, let them lies slip through their teeth. Their ass need to stop, their ass see the prophets.
That's just the reality, Christians. I'm sorry to hurt your feelings. I know your pastor lied to you every Sunday for 30 years, but that's what the church is for, lying. That's why they exist, to lie the money out of your pockets.
Boy, your ass need to stop it, ass need to give a damn what you talk about. Don't give a fuck what you believe, nigga. Gotta stand up to serve my God. We'll pray on our knees, nigga. We'll pray on our knees, nigga. Gotta stand up to serve my God. We'll pray on our knees, nigga.
Hey, Turkey Club.
I feel like everybody's talking about Bitcoin these days. Do you?
Get outside, 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 nigga, outside, outside. On the west and we outside, 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 outside. We outside, outside. We outside, outside with it. That temperature's getting hot, we take it outside. You run your mouth up in this club, we take it outside. I got my killers with me, you won't make it outside. Outside, outside, cause we outside. Before the COVID had the mess and we was outside. The Glock loaded, extra mag and it's outside. There's one west for that bag and we outside. We outside. I got the world in the palm of my hand. One west sleeve stretched through it live on the gram. Had a whole world viewing. Click and subscribe. Had them niggas off the block. Tell them shooters they want a job. I just put them on the payroll. When I get control them, I just mold them like they Play-Doh. Soldiers giving Halo, trying to get up at them pesos. 40 cows send you out of space, Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos, leave you all boxed up. All cause my delivery. I be on that prime shit. Take you time to get with me. Got me like Vladimir. Treat you like the Ukraine. Raise your little city, now you boating like Usain. Scope costs more than the rifle. I got new aim, fresh kick, spit with the blick. Not my shoe game. Used to have a dirty 30 tied to a shoestring. Now I got that Ruger 5 and 7. That's my boot thing. That temperature's getting hot. We take it outside. You run your mouth up in this club. We take it outside. I got my killers with me. You won't make it outside. Outside, outside, cause we outside. Before the COVID had the mess and we was outside. The Glock loaded, extra mag and it's outside. There's one west for that bag and we outside. We outside. That temperature's getting hot, we take it outside. You run your mouth up in this club, we take it outside. I got my killers with me, you won't make it outside. Outside, outside, cause we outside. Before the COVID had the mess and we was outside. The Glock loaded, extra mag and it's outside. There's one west for that bag and we outside. We outside. I don't talk hardly. Be there when you call me. Send them Philly clippers at your head like a baldy. Chopper get to run down your block like a Harley. No, this ain't a big hog. This the big dog.
In your city, swinging through the jungle like it's pitfall. In the water wading, marching to my cadence. Big burst of thunder in my hands like I'm reading. Shitty little combat sounds, but I ain't playing.
Look 'em in the eye before the war like a weigh-in. I'm up in the AM, politicking movements with that Draco from the vid because it's proven. Waiting on my brother out of bed, he ain't do shit. That's how life go. Win some, you lose. Seen a little nigga beat a big nigga out his shoes. Seen that nigga come back, pull up with a gun strap, rob everybody outside, told him run that. We outside. That temperature's getting hot, we take it outside. You run your mouth up in this club, we take it outside. I got my killers with me, you won't make it outside. Outside, outside, yeah, we outside. Before the COVID had the mess and we was outside. My Glock loaded, extra mag and it's outside. It's one west for that bag and we outside. Outside, outside, yeah, we outside. That temperature's getting hot, we take it outside. You run your mouth up in this club, we take it outside. I got my killers with me, you won't make it outside. We outside, outside.
What happened? It didn't go live or what?
Changed. Did it unplug when you hit it?
Oh yeah, I did kind of just almost like.
Yeah, unplugged. Hold on, real quick.
My bad. You know I got big feet, man, so they call me Bozo sometimes.
I was looking at meat, but I was like, whoa, hold on, that's wrong. Should go.
Because I'm drinking my cup.
Star right in front.
This is not a star.
I mean,
This is a Shield of David. Stars don't have points.
There we go.
I'm sorry.
Perfect.
All right. All right. I'll teach the class. I'll teach the Shield of David class again. I didn't taught it twice. I'll teach it one more time for you.
I mean, I don't think I was there.
How you was it?
So I might need it anyway.
Is we good?
All
right. Shalom Yahweh. Shalom Yahweh. Shem Yahweh Shah Rakatham. To all the brothers, Yahweh Shemar Lathah Shem Yahweh Shah. To all the sisters, we got an ISUPK. Started out at 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under commanding General Yohana. And we've been teaching Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans the truth of the Bible since 1969. All right. And today is Tuesday Brotherhood class, right? And today our topic is the Gentiles in the New Testament, right? To the Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, those Gentiles in the New Testament were you. Those are your brothers that they were talking about, right? So you know how the Christian church has this misconception that the Gentiles in the New Testament are everybody, right? But Gentile in the New Testament is not everybody. So I'm gonna give you to set the precedence here, what was going on. So we in our history classes we've been covering about how the Greeks made us assimilate into the Greek way of life, and they called us Hellenists, right? Hellenists. They called us the Hellenist Greeks, the Hellenized Jews, which Jews that made Greek their tongue. Caviar, get Hellenists in the Zondervan Bible Dictionary, right? But they're Jews that adopted Greek ways of life and Greek tongue and Greek language. You know what I mean? So the Israelites, right, that were in Judea, right, that was born with the law and kept the law and all that, was calling the Jews that lived in Greece and these different places that were outside of Israel that wasn't keeping the law. They were keeping Greek law, right? And they were keeping Greek customs, right? They made Greek their customs. What's up? They were made Greek their tongue, right? So the Jews that was in Israel were calling the Jews that were living outside of Israel Gentiles, right? Because they were living like Gentiles, so they were calling them Gentiles. It is that simple. There's no mysticism about it. There's not no mysteries about it. It's just like us right now, right? Calling the Israelites that live like Americans, right? Calling them Gentiles because they want to live like Gentiles. Of course, we would never do that because we know that they are our brothers and sisters, right? So we wouldn't disrespect them by calling them Gentiles. You know what I mean? They don't know that they were Israelites. They never knew that they were Israelites. You understand that, Caviar? They never knew that they were Israelites. Just like at one point in time, you didn't know you was an Israelite. I didn't know I was an Israelite. Caviar, we didn't know that we were Israelites. We didn't know that. We thought we was niggas and. Can I say that? We thought we were African Americans and Hispanic and Native American. That's what we thought we were. You know what I mean? We did not know we were the Lord's chosen people. We didn't know that. You got that for me? Go ahead, read that.
Hellenists, Jews who made Greek their tongue, and with it often adopted Greek ideas and practices.
Right. So they were Jews that adopted Greek lifestyle. You know what I mean? Because they didn't know they were Israelites, right? Now give me Gentile, because everybody has a misconception about Gentile. They think because you're an Israelite, you can't be a Gentile. Remember, I just told you that the Jews in Israel were calling the Jews that lived outside of Israel and adopted Greeks as their custom, right? They called them Gentiles. So every time you see Gentile in the Bible, it doesn't always mean that they're talking about a non-Israelite people. You know what I mean? Sometimes they can be talking about Israelites. Just like when they say stranger, sometimes they can be talking about Israelites when they say stranger. So every time they say stranger, it's not always in non-Israelite people. Sometimes it could be an Israelite that's a stranger. You know what I mean? Before you met me, I was a stranger. You feel me? You wouldn't stop and be like, "Hey, how are you doing?" Because I was a stranger. You know what I mean? But at one point in time, Officer Dawada was a stranger to me. Captain Yatazak was a stranger to me. They're not strangers anymore because now I know them. You feel me? Now we go to Passover and camp and all that together. You know what I mean? They're not strangers anymore. But my mama, to them, it should be a stranger. She don't know that. They don't know her. She don't know them. You know what I mean? They'll probably be more acceptive to it because my mom would be more acceptive to it because she's my mother. You know what I mean? Or Officer Dawada is my camp leader and Captain Yatazak is my camp. You know what I mean? So she'd be more receptive to meeting them. Yeah, you know what I mean? But I know Officer Dawada and Cap, they gonna meet my mama, and they gonna call her mama and everything. Hey, mama, that's what they gonna do because that's what we do in Israel. You know what I mean? That's what we do in Israel. Yeah, because we family. You know what I mean? You got that for me, Caviar?
Okay.
Just let me know when you got it. Go ahead.
Okay. Gentiles.
You just let me talk.
Usually, it means a non-Israelite people under conditions of peace. Considerate treatment was accorded Gentiles by the Israelites under OT law.
Right. So it's sorry. So usually it means a non-Israelite people. So if it means a non-Israelite people, what about the other times where it's not a non-Israelite people? You know what I mean? And that's when it was talking about the heathen as an Old Testament law. It was talking about heathen people. You know what I mean? But in the New Testament, they're talking about the Israelites, people that have went off and started speaking Greek and talking Greek. Caviar,
Okay.
you ready?
Okay.
Let me get Malachi 3:6.
Okay.
Right?
Is that Malachi 3?
Yep, Malachi 3:6. Because the whole world understands that the Old Testament was for the Israelites, right? They were for us. But then they say, but then in the New Testament, see, Jesus came, and that's when the mysticism comes in. Hey, Caviar,
Okay.
lock that door. The water. I'm sorry. I just see things. Right, but in the New Testament, they say Jesus came. So when Jesus came, he led all the nations into the kingdom of heaven, and they can get the blessings and everything. You know what I mean? Which we know now. When we was growing up and we was Christians in the world, of course we believe that. It sounds so good to love everybody. But we know now that that's the wrong thing to do. Because while you're busy loving everybody is busy loving their people and stepping on your people. You know what I mean? So we love the same people Christ loved. I know it sounds good, but it's not actual factual. That's just something that oppressive Christians put on African American Christians. It's hard to do this. Oppressive Christians put on African American Christians so that way when we became free, we wouldn't look at them at a different way. You know what I mean? So now the one that fights for the oppressor is our people. They fight harder for the oppressor than the oppressor fights for itself. Real talk, because we have the oppressor on his knees giving boot kisses, and who comes over and stops us, Capiar? Our own people come over there. They don't stop us. They try to stop the one. You're better than that, because they're looking at him as God or her as God. You know what I mean? Because they don't know any better. They don't know any better. It's very sad to see, and it'd be a lot of old people that do that. and it'd be old men, and I'd be looking like, brother, you're supposed to be on this side of the fence teaching us, but you on that side of the fence defending them. You know what I mean? And you was there to see the racism and the oppression. You know what I mean? I wasn't there. I ain't never had a dog sicked on me by an oppressor. I've never had a water hose by an oppressor. Never. But you know what I mean? These old men and old women have, right? The elderly men and elderly women have. So they should remember that more than ever and be angry about that more than ever and be willing to get in here and be angry and sin not. Like Paul said, right? Yes.
Was it okay to say they're traumatized from it?
Yeah, they have Stockholm syndrome. There we go. Oh, I got it right one time. Usually I'll be like PTSD. They got Stockholm syndrome. Yeah, they're traumatized from it. But who wouldn't be? That's why the best remedy is Commanding General Yohana and his ISUPK. That's the best remedy for anybody.
We got Stockholm syndrome today too, though.
Yes.
I say that because the police still traumatizing us. The system, the whole court system, the whole jail system, all of that, those things are traumatizing us today.
Of course. Now, what's the remedy? What?
Following the laws. We gotta get back to what Christ told us to follow.
I mean, you can follow the laws and still have Stockholm syndrome.
Oh, you mean for that?
Yeah, and still want to save your oppressor or not look at your oppressor as better than you.
I have no idea what we can do as far as Stockholm syndrome.
Right, by learning who you are. By learning that African American is not a real nationality. Learning that a Mexican is not a real nationality. You know what I mean? You are the 12 tribes of Israel, the Lord's chosen people. You know what I mean? And when you learn that, then those laws come naturally. Because then you figure out what you should do, and those laws come naturally. You know what I mean? Even fake Israelite groups, they believe in wearing fringes. They just don't believe in wearing fringes correctly. Because they wear them on the bottom of their shirt. You know what I mean? So they believe that they're the 12 tribes of Israel. They just don't believe in wearing fringes. They don't believe in keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments correctly. And the leaders of those groups was one time in the ISUPK and didn't wear fringes on their shirt, wore fringes on their pants and on their garments. And then they left the ISUPK, and then for some reason, the way they were keeping the law, statutes, and commandments in the ISUPK, it wasn't sufficient for them no more. So now they had to change it up and make new religions. All of them did it, and now they have new religions. Those are new religions on the earth. Right. And you'll see some of them established since 2003. You'll see things like that. Yeah, so, okay, 1969, and we over here. You got that, Caviar?
No.
Go ahead.
Malachi chapter 3, verse 6. For I am the Lord.
Right.
I change not.
Right. Read that one more time.
For I am the Lord. I change not.
Right. He said he changed not. Right. So in the Old Testament, he was saying this, right? So in the New Testament, you think he's going to change? The Lord is telling you right there, I change not. Right. Keep on reading.
Okay. Therefore, ye sons of Jacob are not consumed.
Right. Because if he changed, right, then the Lord would be what do you mean? Christ came for everybody if he changed. And Jacob would not, and Jacob would mean the 12 tribes of Israel would not have the same power that they have in you know what I mean, as being the Lord's chosen people. We wouldn't even have no power. We wouldn't have no benefit of being the Lord's chosen people. But we have a benefit of being the Lord's chosen people because this Bible belongs to us. These promises in the Bible belong to Blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans. You understand that? You understand that? So the Lord didn't change just because he's punishing us does not mean we are not his people. Because he's punishing us does not mean we don't have a chance to come back and get what is ours. You know what I mean? Which is the rulership on the planet, which is the kingdom of heaven. Keep going.
Verse 7. even from the days of your fathers, ye are gone away from mine ordinances.
Right. It says, even from your days of your father. Your fathers didn't keep his commandments. That's what he's saying. He said your fathers' fathers didn't keep the commandments. Nobody kept. The one thing about Israel is we got the Lord's law, statutes, and commandments, and we never kept them as a nation, as a whole. We were always running off to follow this nation, worship this God, that God, this. You know what I mean? We was never, as a whole, keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. Never. Right? Keep going.
Okay. And have not kept them. Return unto me.
Wait, do what?
Return unto me.
Return unto him. I thought I had the Jews ever left being not being Jews? No. So what are you talking about? What is he saying? Return unto them. Or return unto him, right? The Lord. Oh, yes.
Can I answer that? Or you were?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. It's because we were scattered and started worshiping other people's gods, and
right. We always worship other people's gods.
Right. So he wants us to return back unto him and follow his laws and commandments, and
right?
His statutes and commandments,
right?
Of worshiping other gods, because he's a jealous God.
That's right. That's right, sis. That's absolutely right. Because we left the commandments of the Lord. We left the ordinances of the Lord, right? And then for that, the Lord stopped working with us, because he always had a prophet to come back and show us the way. Always, whether it was Elijah, whether it was Isaiah, whether it was Jeremiah, Daniel, somebody was there to be like, hey, we need to go back this way. This, you know what I mean? Somebody, we always had that. But at one point in time, we didn't have it. We didn't have that. We didn't have the knowledge until 1969. And then as Isupk became, that's when we started having the truth of the Lord in full. You know what I mean? The whole truth, nothing but the truth. So help us, the Most High. What's up?
I thought we always had it, because like they was hiding in the caves and everything and all that.
Yeah, but they didn't have it fully. Yeah, they knew they was Israelites, but they didn't. Did they know what to do fully? Oh, no. That's what I'm saying.
Can I give a thought of why we didn't?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because when we went into slavery, they made sure that none of us could be able to read. They made sure we couldn't read. They killed anybody that could read.
No, that's not necessarily true. They let us read. They just didn't let us read the Bible. They didn't let us read the Bible because then when hard-headed brothers like Nat Turner started to read the Bible, and he started to realize that, oh, this is us. We're in captivity. You know what I mean? Just like Exodus had the story.
Is that why they killed him? Because they was teaching that?
Yeah, because they were teaching the Bible. They wasn't teaching them how they knew how to read. They knew how to count, because if they couldn't, so like Washington, D.C. was built by slaves, right? How could they build the city if they couldn't read the schematics?
That's true. Right.
You know what I mean? If they couldn't read the numbers, how could they do anything if they couldn't read? But they would not let them read the Bible, because they know the Bible was the one true revolutionary book on this planet. The Bible is something that shows people how to be separate from your oppressors. You understand that? We understand that? Everybody get that? You got another question?
Oh, that's why they have to be fully like trickery, like twisted pretty much.
Yeah, you ever heard of a slave Bible? Look up in your dictionary. Look up in your Google machine the slave Bible. That's why they came out with a Bible called the Slave Bible that was just like Psalms, a couple. You know what I mean? They took out a whole bunch of different books and gave you a little book. The Psalms, the New Testament. It's called the Slave Bible, and that's what they gave us so we could read the Bible, but we wouldn't not understand it, have the full on records. You know what I mean? Because that Moses and that Exodus story, who don't know about Exodus story? I'm trying to tell you. I remember when I was a kid. Look, I remember I was a kid, and I was watching Rugrats. And on Rugrats, Tommy Pickle and his family were Jewish, and they had the whole thing about the Exodus story, and I was like, and you know how when they used to break out of the little playpen, they used to like when they did adventures and stuff like that, it just changed to what they was doing. Reptar, and remember, I don't know if you too young for Rugrats. Like Rugrats, I don't know, but they had a whole story about Passover, and I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm like, damn, like you feel me? I was like, that's the Moses story. Yeah, tomorrow, and I was like, so Tommy Pickle played Moses. Yeah, you remember that? And I was sitting there watching, and I was like, man, instead of using blood, they go to sheep's blood. They use red paint. You know what I mean? And I was sitting there thinking, like, damn, like, you know what I mean? But I was young in the game, so I wasn't thinking like that was us. You know what I mean? Always, like, I've always heard about Jesus being black, right? Never put two and two together. Never. You know what I mean?
I didn't start hearing about Jesus being black until I was in my 30s, late 30s.
Yeah.
I remember. Hey, you was that told me I ended up going and putting in every Bible in the house with me. Yeah, look at this.
And we got in trouble for that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like this what's that called? Good Times. When Michael drew Jesus is black, and she's like, that's not my, and Florida, is it Florida Evans, his mama? She was like, that's not my Jesus. You take that Jesus down and put my Jesus up. Right. Talk about Caesar Borgia. Right. You know what I mean? He was like, but mama, it says it right here in the Bible. And he started reading. She said, oh my goodness. Like, you know what I mean?
Set people straight.
Yeah, you know what I mean? You have to do that. You know what I mean? You have to do. That's why we go out there to camp, and sound like we're going over the same scriptures because we are, but still a lot of people haven't heard that Yahushua is black. They haven't heard these things because they go to church and they get mesmerized. You know what I mean? By lies. You know what I mean? They go to the club, get mesmerized. Is mesmerized the word?
Oh, yeah, mesmerized. Yeah, mesmerized.
It's mesmerized. They get mesmerized and they get hypnotized. You know what I mean? They always in their phone looking up TikTok and YouTube and this and that. You know what I mean? They doing all these different things, but they're not paying attention to what's really going on in life. You know what I mean? Because that's the way the world has grew us up. You know what I mean? Like you, I remember the first iPhones coming out. I remember those. I was like, you know what I mean? I was like, I could never afford that. But we had flip phones. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Caviar probably never seen a flip phone. Yeah. Right, Caviar, you probably never seen a flip phone. Oh, well, you never used one. Oh, okay. But that's just the difference. You know what I mean? Kids nowadays, they don't know anything about that. They don't even go outside and play. Tag, you're it. They're unsociable. That's why they call them introverts and outroverts or something like that. Yes.
Luckily, I lived that life.
Shut up, Gabby.
You gotta go outside and play.
Yeah.
Luckily, I lived that life.
Hey, Most High in Christ.
Because of them.
Most High in Christ, man. Most High in Christ. I like when kids go. If I see kids outside playing, like, yeah, man, go have an adventure, bro. You know what I mean? Get off your tablet. Get off these things. You know what I mean? But now is the time that Christ is going to return. You know what I mean? So I came into the truth because of YouTube. You came into the truth because of YouTube. So the Caviar coming to the truth because of YouTube. You know what I mean? So 20 years ago, yeah, it was 20 years ago. 20 years ago, we didn't have these things to push the truth out. You know what I mean? So nobody knew what was going on. Now everybody should know what's going on, especially thanks to Ayalawan and those videos that he be putting out. You know what I mean? Getting thousands of views in a couple hours. You know what I mean? The whole world should be at 10 attention. That's why everywhere we go, they say, "Y'all Israel, man, I heard about y'all, man." You know what I mean? Of course you heard about us. Of course you heard about us. You know what I mean? We're all over the internet. There would be no internet if it wasn't for ISUPK. Yes, Capiar.
Muhammad did. Oh no, it was Commander. He did say it would be like people would start coming in and be like, Man, can I get up and do like view us as like celebrity or? No, I'm paraphrasing, but like we were like.
I mean, I was starstruck when I seen Captain Cesario.
Captain Cesario, the world famous, the Kemet killer himself. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it does feel good with men like that. They remember you. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It feels good. It feels good when they see you and they get excited to see you because you're still around. Hey, priest. Right. You know what I mean? Like, oh, snap, you remember me?
Right.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like what? You know what I mean? When brothers when Captain Cod see me at Passover, you know what I mean? And he was like, yeah, he in the group. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. And he remembered my name and everything. I said, what's going on? You know what I'm talking about? You feel me? I was like, oh, snap. He remembered me. You know what I mean? Hey. Go, Caviar, give me Jeremiah. Oh, no. We still on 7.
Are you going to get my reading?
Yeah.
Return unto me, and I will return unto you, says the Lord of hosts. But ye said, wherein shall we return?
Right, that's what we were saying. Where should we return to? Like, we don't know that we Israelites. You know what I'm talking about? Same thing with the brothers did in the Bible. They didn't know they were Israelites. You know what I mean? And that's why Paul had to go to them. You know what I mean? They probably knew they were Israelites, but they didn't know that what to do. You know what I mean? They probably knew they were Israelites, but they didn't know what to do. So Paul had to go to them. Peter had to go to them. You know what I mean? That was their mission. That's why Paul had so many letters going to Corinth, Ephesians. You know what I mean? He was going everywhere, dropping off letters, going to go visit, to teach in the schools. You know what I mean? Because they didn't know. So Paul had to go teach them. Right? Give me Jeremiah 17:4.
Okay.
Because they was telling them one time, you should, like, he said, what should we return to? You know what I mean? Like, so at one point in time, hold that. Give me Psalms 83. I'm going off topic here. Well, not off topic, but I'm going off what's the name here? Yep, I'm going off my class. But it's on topic, but it's off the class. It's hot. Yep.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 83, verse 1. Keep not thou silence, O God.
Right.
Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God. Verse 2. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult.
Right.
And they that hate thee have lifted up the head.
It says they that hate thee have lifted up their head, right? Because they hate us, so they lifted up the head, the ones that hated us, the nations that hated us. Go ahead.
Verse 3. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones.
And they consulted against thy hidden ones. Go ahead.
They have said, come, and let us cut them off from being a nation.
Right. They said, let us cut them off from being a nation. Right. Go ahead.
That the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
Now, what do they call us nowadays? Do they call us the nation, the 12 tribes of Israel? What do they call us?
They call us a color, but it's not. This is a question.
Okay.
So, if the Jews are white, I mean, then it says this right here. How come? How do you put that in the question?
I don't know what the question is.
This is like, I'm asking, like, how can they be the Jews whenever it's saying that the name of Israel will be no more in remembrance?
Hey, I don't know. You can add. We should ask them.
Oh God, that's like, whoa.
Ask the imposter. Hey, that's an excellent question. That's an excellent question. Because it says it right there that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. You know what I mean? Because they call us blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. They don't call us Israel. Right? So the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. We didn't know that we were Israelites. We didn't. And that's just the fact of the matter of it. Just like the brothers in the New Testament, they didn't know they were Israelites out there in Cappadocia and in Cappadocia and in Corinth and Ephesia and Philippi. They didn't know that they was out. They didn't know that they were Israelites. And that's Thessalonica. I always have to remember that one. Thessalonica. That's Thessalonians. The Thessalonica. That's the name of it. They didn't know that they were Israelites. Where are those people today? I don't know where they at. You talking about like the ones that they wrote notes to?
Yeah, like who are
they were writing the. So it's like Romans, right? They were writing to the Israelites that were in Rome. So he wasn't writing to everybody that was in Rome. Like when we go to camp, we talking, but we're not talking to everybody. We're trying to get our people. Just so happen an American walk by or you know what I mean? Because they're not.
saved?
Yeah. They think blessing and saved is the same thing. No. Go ahead, Capiar.
Okay.
Or well, let's go back to Jeremiah 17:4.
Okay. The book of Jeremiah, chapter 17, verse 4. And thou, even thyself, shalt discontinue from thine heritage.
Right, that's the Lord speaking to Jeremiah. He said, even you, Jeremiah, you're gonna discontinue from thine inheritance, from your heritage. You're going to discontinue from your heritage. You're not going to know you're an Israelite either, Jeremiah. Which is true, because Jeremiah's walking around here on the earth somewhere. He's an Israelite somewhere, and he don't know that he's an Israelite. Or he didn't know he was an Israelite. I don't know. I don't know where he is, but he's somewhere on, because the prophets are subject to the spirits of the prophets. So he's somewhere out here as a prophet. He just don't know who he is. He could be Capiar. He could be Jeremiah. I know you have no idea. All right, keep going.
That I have gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not.
Right. What about America? We didn't know this land. And he's going to serve thine enemies. Right. Go ahead.
Okay. For ye have kindled a fire in mine anger, which shall burn forever.
Oh, which shall burn forever, right? Because we didn't do what the Lord said, and we worshipped other gods. So we kindled a fire in the Lord's anger. And when it says forever, it means like a long dispensation of time. And it's been a while, a long while. You know what I mean? It's been a long while. Give me... Give me Romans. You know what? Give me First Kings. I think it's First Kings 11:1. The split of Israel. When we split. I think it's 11:1, because it's the first time. That that Israelites, what would you call it? This is the first time that Israelites were split up, right? We were always split up, and then King David brought us together. But this was the first time since King David that we were split apart, right? Some was in the northern kingdom, some was in the northern kingdom of Israel, some was in Judea, right? We were split up, the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. All right, and then the northern kingdom got carried away into Assyria, into captivity. We know about this, right? No, we didn't know about this, about the northern kingdom getting taken away into captivity in ancient Assyria. No,
Which slavery was this?
that's the one after Egypt. That the northern kingdom got taken away into. The northern kingdom got taken away into not on slave ships, but they got taken away into captivity in ancient Assyria. The ancient Assyrians took them into captivity. Yeah.
I was gonna say the northern tribe was being it was sinning against the Most High, so they took them away into captivity.
Yeah, Assyrians.
They was hiding. You mean where they were hiding it?
No, the Assyrians took the northern kingdom away into captivity.
That's how we split.
Yeah, that is how we split.
Before or after Egypt?
Yeah, it was after Egypt.
Were we in the wilderness after Egypt?
Yeah. So we were in the wilderness after. So we left Egypt, right? And then we were in the wilderness, and then Moses died. Then Joshua took over. And Joshua got us to the kingdom, to the promised land. Right?
Back to the slavery there?
No, we're going to go back into slavery there. Then Gadiawan. Yeah, but it's Gadiawan. Gideon and the time of Judges, then Ruth, and then Saul took over. We were all still not united as a people. And then that he had King David came. He had his own mishap with King David. And King David took over. And King David united all 12 tribes, right? And became the kingdom of Israel, where we took over the whole Middle East. Yes.
You mean the Second Kings?
It's Second Kings.
Oh, Second Kings.
I don't know exactly where the split is.
Oh, it's Second Kings 17 and 7.
Then where's First Kings and 11? Why do I have that on my notes? But I don't have nothing to say about it, so. I'm guessing it's just like a mistypo. But yeah, and then King Solomon took over, and then Jeroboam took over, which is Solomon's grandson, and then Rehoboam took over the northern kingdom. He's an Ephraimite. He took over the northern kingdom, and then Jeroboam took over the southern kingdom, and then the northern kingdom went off and started worshiping idols and went into captivity under the Assyrians. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about? You didn't know that? All right. So I got some work to do in history class. Where we at? What I say?
2 Kings 17:7.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is the book of 2 Kings, chapter 17, verse 7. For so it was that the children of Israel had sinned against the Lord their God, which had brought them out of the land of Egypt, from under the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt.
Right.
And had feared other gods.
Right. Yeah, go ahead.
Verse 8. And walked in the statutes of the heathen, whom the Lord cast out from before the children of Israel,
right,
and the kings of Israel, which they had made.
Right, because the kings of Israel, right, everybody else on the planet had a king. The Lord said, I don't want you to have a king. But the Israelites said, we want to be like everybody else and have a king. So then he gave them a king. He gave them Saul. And then Saul proved to be just like what the Most High said. You know what I mean? He was going to start worshiping himself and doing what he wanted to do, right? And that's what he did. And the Lord lost favor with Saul and gave the kingdom to David. All right, go ahead. Yeah, because then they should be split.
Verse, let me go down to verse 17.
Do your thing.
Verse 7. Actually, I'll start at verse 16. Yeah, because it goes on further. Verse 16. And they left all the commandments of the Lord their God and made them molten images.
Right. So that's what they that every time. That's what we do. When we leave from being brotherly together, somebody always got to go off and go worship and leave the commandments of the Lord, and got to go worship images and worship this and worship that. Right? It happened with the ISUPK when those fake Israelite, when the other Israelite groups broke off, they went to go start worshiping other things. You know what I mean? And stop worshiping the Lord. Right? Go ahead.
Okay. Even 2 calves, and made a grove, and worshiped all the host of heaven, and served Baal.
And served Baal. You know what Baal was? Baal was just a farmer.
Oh, yeah.
Baal was a farmer, and he had the greatest crops in all the land. And when they seen how much crops he had, and how he had his fruit and his vegetables and everything was growing, and his cattle was growing, right? They said, "Oh man, how you do that?" And they started worshiping Baal. Right. That's what Israelites do. Israelites worship everything. We worship anything. You know what I mean? Yeah, we worship anything. You want to be, if you see a bad enough stripper, you'll worship the stripper. I want to be just like her. Go ahead. Yep. Yeah, that was in my mind too. Go ahead.
Okay. Verse 17, and they caused their sons and their daughters to pass through the fire.
They caused their what?
Their sons and their daughters to pass through the fire.
Because that's what happens. We pass through the fire. We don't just pass through the fire. We have our kids pass through the fire also. Knowing it's against the Lord, knowing that our kids could be punished for it, we still have our kids celebrate Easter, Christmas, and Thanksgiving and all this. Right? All right, leave that alone, Caviar. Let's go to 2 Maccabees chapter 6. Let's get where all this started at. Right?
You don't want to get to the split. The split was the next scripture. Right?
All right, go ahead. My bad. Go ahead.
Okay. And then used divination and enchantment, and sold themselves to do evil in the sight of the Lord, to provoke him to anger. Verse 18. Therefore the Lord was very angry with Israel, and removed them out of his sight. There was none left but the tribe of Judah only.
All right, see? He removed all the 10 tribes and removed them from his sight. He was upset, and the only thing that was left was the nation of Judah. And there was three tribes in Judea, which are Benjamin, Levi, and Judah. And those are your dark-skinned tribes, I guess you want to call it. I don't know. The southern kingdom. That's your Haitians, Jamaicans, West Indians, and your Negroes. Is that it, Caviar?
But it says in 19 that Judah fell off too.
Yep, Judah fell off too. Well, now we finna get into that right now. Give me that in 2 Maccabees. That's why in Jeremiah, when you get down to Jeremiah says that even you going to be discontinued from thine inheritance. You know what I mean? He even gave it to Judah too.
So you said 2 Maccabees
6. You can start at verse 4. Because the Lord don't. I want me to let you in on a little secret. The Lord don't play that. You want me to let you in on a little secret, PR? The Lord don't play that. The Lord don't play that. The Lord ain't about no games. The Lord ain't about no games, bro. The Lord don't play that. You don't want to listen to what the Lord say. The Lord will take your life. You feel me? The Lord will step on you. Ain't that how they say it nowadays? Lord will step on you. Lord, you think you a stepper? The Lord is the ultimate stepper. You know what I'm talking about? Real talk. The Lord kills birds and everything. Unalive birds and everything. You know what I'm talking about? Don't nothing get unalived without the Lord saying so. The Lord is the real stepper on the planet. What's up, Caviar?
Crazy you say that because I just heard a story today that actually like baffled me. Because so you know the girl that I work with that's a Christian pastor? She's like a Christian pastor?
No, I didn't know you had one of those up there.
Well,
She's working a Smoothie King. Ain't that something?
Well, she had, remember, I don't know if she ever told you that she had gotten hit by a car.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to laugh, but the Lord don't play that.
No, the crazy thing was she was telling me the story and everything, and I was listening. I was like, yeah, damn, you could almost die and everything. And then the crazy thing was she told me it was the day before Easter. I was like,
oh yeah.
She was finna celebrate Easter and everything. Her father was getting her son ready for Easter. And I was like, damn. And she was taking it as like a moment to like it was the Lord saving her and all that. Like she was like, So I was like, don't just punish people.
I bet you this year she's celebrating Easter though. They don't listen.
Lord just punished you.
Hey, the Lord almost unalived her.
He almost unalived me a couple of times.
Hey, I'm with you. Me too. Me too. He almost unalived me a couple times too, a few times. You feel me? You ain't never been close to death?
You would not have been here.
I'm close to death.
Oh,
Actually, almost baby rape. I like quit breathing or something like that.
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, you turn purple and blue. Take it to the hospital.
You know what I'm talking about? The Lord did me like that recently. Go ahead. Look, Caviar, 6 and 4.
You almost unalived your sister too. Relax.
This is the book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 6, and verse 4. For the temple was filled with riot and reveling.
Reveling.
Reveling by the Gentiles.
Right. So now when they talk about Gentiles, now they're talking about heathen nations. This is at the time where the Greeks were in Israel, right? And they were in the temple, and the temple was filled with riot and reveling, right? All types of ill mannered by the Gentiles, right? Go ahead.
Who did not
Dallied.
Who dallied with harlots.
Right. They had. I was going to say they had whores, but they had prostitutes inside of the temple. Go ahead.
And had to do with women, and had to do with women within the circuit of the holy places.
Circuit.
Circuit of the holy places. And besides that, brought in things that were not lawful.
Right. It was bringing pork in there. It was bringing Caesar Borgia pictures in there. It was bringing everything that was inside of the temple that was unlawful. What's up, Caviar?
This is my show that we're watching.
Oh yeah, yeah, Spartacus. Yes, 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 yes. Just like that. Just like this. They're the same people. The Edomites. One is Greek. One is Roman. They all do the same thing in there.
They don't care what they do. When they and how.
Right. Go ahead. Verse 5.
Verse 5. The altar also was filled with profane things, which the law forbid.
Right. So the altar was also on the up here on the what's the name? They had pork chops and you know what I mean. It was filled with unlawful things that the Lord did not set up to be in there. They were defiling the temple of the Lord, defiling the altar of the priest of the Lord. You know what I mean? That's what these other nations do because nobody's going to respect this temple of your culture, right? Better than you. So when you bring other nations in here, other nations come in here, they're going to disrespect it because they don't care about your culture. You dig what I'm saying? Go ahead. Now this is where they started going off to be Hellenists, right? Go ahead.
Verse 6. Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days or ancient fast.
Yeah, right. So it was unlawful for a man to keep the Sabbath day and ancient fast. He couldn't keep Passover. He couldn't keep none of these things, right? So eventually they had to start doing the things that the Greeks wanted them to do. Right? Go ahead.
Okay. Or to profess himself at all to be a Jew.
So he couldn't even say that he was an Israelite from this tribe, from that tribe, from that tribe. He had to say he was a Greek from Sparta, a Greek from Corinth. He had to say that he was these things. He couldn't say that he was where he was from, who he was. You know what I mean? It was unlawful. They'd be thrown in jail. They'd be killed, hanged. Is it hung? Yeah, they'd be killed or unalived. They'd be hung and things like that. Go ahead.
Verse 7. And in the day of the king's birthday, that's like a birth every month, they were brought by bitter constraint to eat of the sacrifices.
Right. So even though they didn't celebrate the birth, they couldn't do the feast and all that, right? the ancient fast, right, and the Sabbath day and things like that, right? They didn't celebrate the king. They didn't celebrate the king's days. You know what I mean? The days that the Greeks were celebrating. But then they started came a time where they was like, no, you have to. And then they brought them down, even though they didn't want to, and they made them celebrate the king's birthday. They made them do these things. Keep going.
And when the fast of Bacchus, is it Bacchus?
Yeah.
Bacchus was kept, the Jews were compelled to go in
Procession
to Bacchus, carrying ivy.
Right. So then when the Feast of Bacchus came around, they made them do the Feast of Bacchus. They made them do Christmas. They made them do Easter. Made them do Thanksgiving. Made them do 4th of July. They were forced to do these things. And you know what happens if they didn't do it? They would die. Right? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, they will be unalived. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 8. Moreover, there went out a decree to the neighbor cities of the heathen by the suggestion of Ptolemy against the Jews, that they should observe the same fashions and be partakers of their sacrifices.
Right. So then they sent out a decree to all the neighboring cities of the heathens where the Israelites dwelled. Right. You should make your Israelites do the same thing I make my Israelites do. They keep Bacchus, they should keep the Bacchus. You know what I mean? You should make them follow you in all things and make them not be able to follow their God. And that's when the first Jews became Hellenized. Right? So then when Christ comes 200 years later, you know what I mean? 200 years, 300 years later, right? This is like two, three generations later. And they don't know anything about being a Jew, being an Israelite. You know what I mean? Because all their life, they have been taught to keep Bacchus. They have been taught to keep the king's birthday. They have been taught to keep Greek customs and Greek tongue, or they will be killed. Right? All right. Which brings us to our next, we're finally in the New Testament. Give me Galatians 3:28. Yep, Galatians 3:28. Galatians is a city too, Galatia. That's another Greek city. All of these letters that Paul was writing, he was writing to people, to the Israelites that were in those cities. You know what I mean? That was in Galatia, that was in Philippi, that was in Ephesia, that was in Corinth, that was in Thessalonica. He was writing to the Israelites that were in there, that was in those cities. All right, you got that for me?
Okay.
Go ahead.
This is the book of Galatians, chapter 3, verse 28. There is neither Jew nor Greek.
There's what?
There is neither Jew nor Greek.
There it is. Boom. Close the book. We done. That's how the Christian church do it. There is neither what?
Jew nor Greek.
There is neither Jew nor Greek. That's all we need to know. See, there's neither Jew nor Greek, brother. You know what I mean? You know what? When they say that, what about the Asians? What about Chinese, Japanese? What you speaking on is only Jew and Greek. What about everybody else that's there? What about Romans? You know what I mean? What about the Arabs? What about the Africans? Nobody, Jew and Greeks. That's all it is, right? Because really what they're saying is they only care about the oppressors. That's what they're saying. It's only Jews and the oppressors, brother. Nobody else. You know what I mean? So you out here hating everybody. And it says right here, Jew nor Greek. So they ain't got nothing to do with that. Yeah, you know what I mean? Caviar. In that sentence right there, when you go to the what's the name, to the Strong's Concordance, or you go to the actual Greek in the New Testament, it's gonna say Jew or Hellen, right? And we already just read about what the Hellens were, right? They were Greek speaking Jews. So even that should be Jew and Greek speaking Jews. Right? Go ahead.
There is neither Jew nor Greek-speaking Jews.
No, those you ain't gotta say that.
There is neither Jew nor Greek.
Right?
There is neither bond nor free.
Right? There's neither bond nor free. And that is also true. There's no slave, there's no free when you're under Christ, right?
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. There is neither.
Remember, these are he's speaking to the Galatians that are Israelites in Galatia. So this is not for everybody. He's only talking to the Israelites. All right, go ahead.
There is neither bond nor free.
Right.
There is neither male nor female.
Right, and when it says there's neither male nor female, it has something to do with like today how women say that they get discriminated against. You know what I mean? Outside of what the males get discriminated against, that has nothing to do with anything. Blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, whether you're female or male, you get discriminated against the both. It just the same. You know what I mean? Just the same. That what's on the TV that's meant to deceive. That's meant to deceive me. Same thing that's meant to deceive you also. Right? Go ahead.
Okay. For ye are all one in Christ Jesus. It's like Christ Jesus.
Right, because we're all one in Christ Yahushua. You know what I'm talking about? We all believe in Christ. We're all in the spirit of Christ, right? So we should all have that same morality standpoint, right? Christ died for Blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans as a whole, not just as me as a male, you as a female. You know what I'm talking about? Not just as me being a Jew or brothers being Isupk or brothers being Ephraim or he died for all 12 tribes, right? Whether you was a slave, whether you rich, whether you was what's his name, Nicodemus, or whether you was who was a poor man in Israel in the New Testament. Caviar.
A poor man?
Yeah. Yeah, who's a poor man in the New Testament?
Poor man. All of the prophets were in Matthew.
No, they all had jobs and stuff like that. I want one of them, but whether you was Nicodemus or whether you was that brother that was waiting by the lake for that couldn't get in the lake. I mean, that couldn't get in the river Jordan. Is River Jordan, right? That you couldn't get in there. Whether you was Nicodemus or him, whether you was Caiaphas or what's his name, Lazarus. Christ died for you just the same. You understand it? Go ahead. Verse 29.
Okay, verse 29. And if ye be Christ, then are ye Abraham's seed.
Okay, so I thought they was talking about Jew or Greek. I thought they was talking about everybody right here. Everybody's not Abraham's seed. Everybody didn't come from Abraham's seed. Right? Am I? Did everybody come from Abraham's seed? Matter of fact, hold that. Can you give me Romans 9? Romans 9 and 7. Romans 9 and 7. I like to beat up on Muslims with this. I don't.
Because Romans chapter 9, verse 7. Neither, because they are the seed of Abraham. Are they all children?
Right? So, because Abraham had many children. He had many seeds. Right? He had Ishmael, he had Isaac, he had Median, he had a whole bunch, he had like 6 other children after Isaac. You know what I mean? So Abraham had a lot of children. Right? So it says, neither because they are the seed of Abraham, are they all children. Just because they come from Abraham don't make them the seed of the promise, the children of the promise, right? Go ahead.
But are they not? It's like these are not the children of God. It's like,
wait, where are you at, bro?
It's like, are they all children?
Start at verse 7 again.
Verse 7. Neither because they are the seed of Abraham.
Right?
Are they all children? But in Isaac shall thy seed be called.
No, in Ishmael.
In Isaac shall thy seed be called.
In Median.
In Isaac shall thy seed be called.
Go ahead.
Verse 8. That is, they which are the children of the flesh, these are not the children of God.
Right? Even though they're Abraham's children in the flesh, these are not the children of God. The only one that's children of God is Isaac. Right? Go ahead.
But the children of the promise are counted for the seed.
Right? Because the children of the promise, the children of God, are counted for the seed. That's who the seed is. The seed is is Isaac's and his children and his descendants. That's the bloodline that it's going to. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 9. For this is the word of promise. At this time will I come, and Sarah shall have a son.
Right? Who was Sarah's son?
Sarah's son?
Yeah. Abraham's wife Sarah, who was her son? Yes?
Isaac.
Yeah, you're right. Go ahead.
Verse 10. And not only this, but when Rebekah also had conceived by one, even by our father's Isaac.
Right, because who's Rebekah's husband? Who was Rebekah's husband?
Isaac. Jacob.
No.
Isaac. It was Isaac.
It was Isaac. It was Isaac. Right, and she had Jacob and Esau. Keep going.
Verse 11. For the children being not yet born, neither having done any good or evil, that the purpose of God according to the election might stand.
Right, because when they were born, the Lord already picked who was going to be who and what was going to be what. The Lord had already knew, you know what I mean, before they were even born, not being yet, not that they were doing any good or any evil. The Lord chose who he wanted to choose. Keep going, Capiar.
Okay. Not of works, but of him that calleth.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 12. It was said unto her, the elder shall serve the younger.
Right. The elder shall serve the younger. Who's the elder out of Jacob and Esau? Caviar?
Who's the elder? Esau.
Who's the younger?
Jacob.
Esau should be serving Jacob. Keep going.
Okay. Verse 13. As it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated.
As it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. That's your Greek. That's your Greek right there. You know what I mean? Go back to Galatians. It's Galatians, right?
Okay.
Yeah. 29. Start at 29.
Verse 29. And if ye be Christ, then are ye Abraham's seed?
Right. Now we just read about Abraham's seed, right? Who did the seed go to? Who was considered Abraham's church? The chosen seed.
Abraham's children.
No.
Or Isaac.
Who?
Isaac.
All right, man. You worried me. You got me a little worried there.
Isaac.
We just read about it. Just because they're all Abraham's seed does not make them the children of God. Not make them the seed of promise. All right, go ahead.
Okay. And heirs according to the promise?
Right, they're heirs according to the promise. The kingdom of heaven belongs to Abraham's seed, meaning Isaac, and then going down to Jacob, and then those 12 tribes. 3 and 29. We good now? Oh, actually, we're done with this now. Okay. Give me John chapter 7, verse 35.
Book of John, chapter 7, verse 35. Then said the Jews among themselves, whither will he go, that we shall not find him?
Right, he's talking about Christ. So where is he going to go that we not going to find him? Right? Yeah.
Are you talking about himself?
Nah, it says, then said the Jews amongst themselves, where is Christ going to go? Whither we go that we won't find him? Yeah.
He wasn't ready. They're red. I'm not sure. Oh, maybe it's okay. Never mind. It's probably because I clicked on it. And probably showing me.
No, I was like, no, you feel me?
The words above it are red too.
Go ahead.
Then said the Jews among themselves, whither will he go? What shall we? It's like that we shall not find him. Will he go unto the dispersed, like dispersed among the Gentiles?
Now, who's the dispersed among the Gentiles?
Israelites acting like heathens.
Right. There's the ones that are dispersed from Israel that are among the Gentiles. Right. Now keep going.
And teach the Gentiles.
Oh, so that must mean he must go to among the to the dispersed among the Gentiles and teach the Gentiles, meaning everybody that's not Israelites. Remember when they say Gentiles, right? Gentiles is not always meant to be used as non-Israelite people, and sometimes it isn't Israelite people. So when it says among the Gentiles, that is talking about a non-Israelite people. Because they're going to the Israelites that are among the Gentiles, and it says and teach the Gentiles, right? Meaning what? When it says teach the Gentiles, meaning what? Yeah,
teach the Israelites that didn't know their culture, didn't know what they were.
Because the Jews that were in Judea were calling the Israelites that are living outside of Israel Gentiles. It's that simple. It's that simple. Because the word Gentile only means what? Goyim. Is it on the what's the name still? Yeah, Goyim. Nations, Goyim. Goyim. Goyim means, and it just means nations. Is Israelites not a nation? Is it confusing? It's not confusing. Let me know if I'm confusing anybody. Y'all sure? All right, let me know. Give me Psalms 148 and 14. Yep. And then in the Bible dictionary, get saints.
148?
Yeah, Psalms 148 and 14.
What?
14?
You say
Saints. Right? Because if I tell you the Saints, right, you got to think about a football team. If I tell you the Saints, you're gonna think white people because they got Saint Benedict as the Pope, and Saint this and Saint that.
The body of the church, of the Christian church, saints.
I don't know. I haven't been in the body of the Christian church in a while.
Yeah.
You feel me? I know downtown they have what's the name called a street called St. Mary's. They have a St. Mary's University. Did you find it? Saints? You worrying me, Caviar? No. Nothing yet? Caviar. It's in alphabetical order, bro. It's like a dictionary. You need me to help?
Nah. No. What?
Saints. Saints or saints. Let me see this, bro. Let me see it.
You got your glasses.
You said what? Shh, these words are just small. SAI caviar, not SAM.
You ain't got your glasses? You got you don't wear your glasses and
This one.
huh?
This one.
You probably couldn't see.
No.
Right here. At the bottom of the page to the left.
Oh.
He was in SAN.
Or SAM.
Yeah. SAINTS. You gotta love caviar, man. That's why I love that guy. Right? Give me the Psalms 148 and 14 first.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 148, verse 14. He also exalted the horn of his people, the praise of all his saints.
Right? The praise of all his saints, right? Oh, yeah. Praise all the saints. St. Benedict, St. Arnold, what was John St. Pope, St. John VII? I don't know the dude's name. I don't know these dudes. Yeah, it's about praise them all. Yeah, the saints. Right? Go ahead.
Even of the children of Israel.
Right? That's who the saints are. The people of the children of Israel. Go ahead.
A people near unto him.
A people that's near unto the Most High. Right? Go ahead.
Praise ye the Lord.
Praise the Lord. Praise him for that. Right? Now give me saints in the Design of the Bible Dictionary.
Saints, a member of God's covenant people Israel, whether a pious layman.
Yeah, we don't need to read all that. Read it again.
A member of God's covenant people Israel.
Now everybody remember that. That's what the word saint means. A people of the God's covenant Israel, right? Now, put the book down. Don't close it.
Don't close it.
All right, don't close it. Stay right there, because we're gonna need that definition again. Right? Give me Romans chapter 1, verse 7. Right? I'm gonna show you a little trick that the Christian church be using. All right, I'm gonna show y'all a little trick, man. Because Romans. When you see Romans, you be like, see, he wrote the book to Romans. And then what you gonna say, like, yeah, it sound right. Romans. He wrote a book to the Romans. Yeah.
Romans chapter 1 verse
7.
This is the book of Romans chapter 1 and verse 7. So all that be in Rome.
Stop. See that? See that? To all that be in Rome. There it is. Close the book. Let's go home. I told y'all, God love everybody. All the Romans. I told y'all. Read it one more time.
So all that be in Rome.
To everybody in Rome. I told y'all. I was telling y'all this. You know what I'm talking? See the Israelites, the Israelites that be on the corners, they don't know what they talking about. Because this right here says to all that be in Rome. Everybody. Clap it up. Clap it up for Caesar Borgia and clap it up for Jesus. Because he loved everybody, and I told you everybody was going to make it. Right? That's what they said. Keep reading, Caviar.
Beloved of God.
See? Everybody in Rome, the Lord, beloved of God. See? Close the book. Y'all don't know what they don't know what they talking about. Keep going.
Called to be saints.
Called to be what?
Saints.
Called to be who?
Saints.
Now, what is saints? What are the saints? Get it.
A member of God's covenant people Israel.
Right. So that's who they talking about. To all of the member of God covenant people Israel, those saints. They don't know what they're talking about. The Christians don't know what they're talking about. Right? Keep reading.
Okay. Grace To you and peace from God, our Father.
Everybody's father.
Our Father.
Our Father. See how that's a possessive word? You know what I mean? Caviar. If you're talking to your sister, you say our Father. Is that everybody's father? No. No. You feel me? So he's talking to the saints in Israel. I mean, he's talking to the saints in Rome. He's talking to the Israelites that are in Rome and talking grace and peace to you. You feel me? From God, our Father. Not Julius Caesar's father. Not Mark Antony's father. Not Marcus Crash's father. See, I got to bring out all the names. Pompey and Nero. I got to, you know what I mean? What's his name? Pontius Pilate. Yeah, not Pontius Pilate's father either. Go ahead.
And the Lord Jesus Christ.
Right. Now go to 1 Corinthians 1:1.
This is the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 1. Paul, called to be an apostle of Jesus Christ through the will of God.
Right. You know, tomorrow so this is Paul. He's addressing he's addressing who's writing the letter. You know what I mean? Paul always has something cool to say when he's writing the letter. He started off the letter like Paul, called to be an apostle of Jesus Christ. What does he get? What is he giving right there, Capiar? Basically, just like when you call somebody out of city or something and be like, this is Officer Capiar from San Antonio. Officer Dawada wanted me to call you because simple. Yeah. you feel me? I did not call you on my own accord. Officer Dawada wanted me to call you because you know what I'm talking about? That's basically what he's writing it though. They didn't have phones back then. Couldn't pick up the phone and call nobody in Corinth, but he could send a letter. Go ahead.
Will of God and
solsticeness. I don't know what that word means.
Brother.
Can we please look that up? I don't know what that means. Solstice. You know what I mean? Don't get me to messing it up. I'm like, sauce? They put Alfredo sauce on there? You know what I'm saying? The solsticeness. Yeah, it's the sauce that makes the noodles nice and soft. I'm trying to tell y'all. Don't get me to. I'll murder it. I will murder. I will unalive that word. I will unalive that word.
Oh. You want to tell you what it is?
Somebody.
It's the chief ruler. That means chief ruler.
Oh.
He's the chief ruler of the synagogue.
Read that one more time, Capiar. Because now it makes all sense.
Yeah.
Paul, called to be an apostle of Jesus Christ through the will of God and Sosthenes.
Right, the chief ruler. Right, go ahead.
Our brother.
Christ is our brother, the chief ruler. He's the king. Oh, man, that makes so much sense. Keep going.
Okay. Verse 2. Unto the church of God, which is at Corinth.
Right, the church of God, which is at Corinth. See, everybody, the whole church of God. It gotta be some Corinthians in there too. It gotta be some Greeks in there too. What's up, Capiar?
Maybe he was just explaining like where schools are, like how we have it.
Yeah. Basically, go ahead.
To them that are sanctified in Jesus Christ, called to be saints.
Called to be what?
Saints.
Now, what does saints mean?
Israelite. God's covenant people, Israel.
That's what it means. So Corinthians it wasn't a letter to Corinthians, it was a letter to the Israelites that were living in Corinth, of the members of God's covenant people, Israel, that was living in Corinth. Simple. Go ahead.
With all that in every place call upon the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord, both theirs and ours.
I'm just saying, it's not subject to everybody, and that's what they were like. Paul knew who he was writing to. It's just the Christians of today don't know who Paul was writing to. Give me 2 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 2. I think it's 2. It where it says saints.
You said 2 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 2?
Yeah.
This is the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 2.
I didn't say read. It's where it says saints in there, right?
2 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 2?
Yeah. Oh, my bad. Verse 1. My bad. I
Oh, come here. Verse 1.
Yes. Calm. Go ahead, Gabriel.
This is the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 1.
So for sure, if the First Corinthians, right, was the letter First Corinthians was to Israelites, the Second Corinthians, that must be to everybody. That must be to all the Corinthians, everybody that lives in Corinth. You know what I mean? Cappy, are you not an American? Are you American? You're not American?
Yeah.
You're an American, right? You're just an Israelite that lives in America. You have an American citizenship. What about you? Since you an American? I was born here too. I got a birth certificate and a social security card. I got all that. I got an ID and everything. I was born here. I'm an American. I'm just as American as Trump and Biden. You dig what I'm saying? Hey, so all the Corinthians that was in Corinth, the Israelites, right? That was living in Corinth. They was born in Corinthian too. In Corinth. So shouldn't they have like a Corinthian citizenship? So they could be Corinthians too. I'm just saying. It wasn't Paul a Roman? I'm just saying. But he was an Israelite from the tribe of Benjamin. That's what he said. That's out of his own mouth. He knew what he was, but he had a Roman citizenship. Hey, I don't know what I'm talking about.
You are not where you were born. You are where your roots come from.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
You could say I was born there, but that's not what I am. That's not my roots.
A Chinese man living in America, born in America.
He's still.
Is he not?
He's not going to change his.
Chinese. He's not going to be Chinese. No, I mean, he's just not going to be Chinese no more, right? No, he's Chinese. He's still going to be Chinese. He's going to learn everything about his culture. He's probably going to learn martial arts.
And he's going to make money here and send it over to China.
Yeah, he probably gonna cut up rat and cats and serve it to my people. He's gonna do all of that. You dig what I'm saying? Capiar? So why should we have to change who we are? We're Israelites. I'm an Israelite from the tribe of Judah. I just happen to have an American citizenship. You know what I mean? I know some brothers that are Israelites from the tribe of Issachar that have Mexican citizenship. I know some Israelites from the tribe of Isupk that have an American citizenship also. So what's the problem? The problem is that they're trying to confuse you on who you are, so you don't learn who you are, because when you learn who you are and you return back to the Father, right? Like it says in Jeremiah 14, we just went over it.
Oh, we cannot be African Americans either, because African-ness is a white man and American just is a white man. So we can't be
That's right.
white people.
Yeah, and it's
Two white people can't make black babies.
we just can't be African American because that's two continents.
It's true.
It's not even two countries. That's two
But
continents.
it was named after those two white men.
Yeah, Leo Scipius Africanus and Amerigo Vespucci.
Right.
Who's the one?
Yeah.
Who's the one with it? Who's the one with it? Who's that guy?
Yeah, she was confirming.
Yeah.
It's a lot of information to keep. It's a lot of information to hold on to. And if you don't have memory like an elephant, like myself, you would never remember it all. Real talk. Real talk. You'll never remember it all. Now give me what you got, Caviar.
The book of 2 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 1. Paul, an apostle of Jesus Christ, by the will of God, and Timothy, our brother, unto the church of God, which is a Corinth.
So now he's calling back to Corinth, right? This is the second time he called. You feel me? That's why it's 2 Corinthians. You feel me? This is the second time he called. He said, "Hey, yeah." So it's Paul, you know what I mean, an apostle of Jesus Christ. You know, tomorrow I'm calling on behalf of Christ. I got Timothy here with me. Yeah, yeah. So now he's telling like I got Timothy here on the line with me. You feel me? And this is you do what I'm saying? Timothy, our brother. You know what I'm talking about? Not my brother, our brother. You feel me? Because he's our brother. You do what I'm saying? Like that's basically what he's doing. He's writing to them and telling them what's the mission, who sent me for this mission. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
With all the saints which are in all Achaia. Verse 2.
Wait. Start on Timothy, our brother.
Timothy, our brother, unto the church of God, which is at Corinth.
Right. The church of God, which is at Corinth. Is everybody in the church of God? You know, churches only mean the gathering of Israelites. Right? Go ahead.
With all the saints which are in all Achaia. It's like Achaia.
Right, which are the saints, right? What do the saints mean again?
God's covenant people Israel.
God's covenant people Israel. That's what the saints mean. Now jump down to 1 Corinthians, right? Go back to 1 Corinthians and go to 12 and start at verse 1. Right. Remember earlier we was talking about those idols that Israel loves. Israel loves to have idols to worship and like golden calves and all this extra. We love it. We love it. That's what we love. You know what I mean? Instead of serving our God, we love to do what our God hates. That's why he calls us stiff-necked and rebellious. You know what I mean? That's what makes us Israelites. Honestly, if somebody was a stiff-necked and rebellious and just concert and did everything that they were supposed to do, and I would look at them like, "You sure you're Israelite? You just take everything so cheerfully." You know what I mean? We don't never get no pushback. You know what I mean? Like so. No. That's what the pushback, because we are a stiff-necked and rebellious people. We have to be like, look, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? You gotta ask them, are you sure about that? You feel me? You know what I'm talking about? Like, let me see the proof. You know what I'm saying? But what about this? But what about that? But what about that? And what about this? It has to be that. If it's not that, I don't. You know what I'm talking about? And there's no such thing as a dumb question. Right? Go ahead, Caviar.
Okay. Verse 1. Now concerning spiritual gifts, brother.
Who?
Brother.
Everybody.
Brother.
Paul is talking to his brethren. Brethren. I like to say it like that. Go ahead.
Brother. I would not have you ignorant.
Right, Caviar.
Okay.
That's how we that's how we do our brothers, especially brothers that don't. We get a breakdown. I will not have you ignorant to this breakdown. So check this out. You know what I'm saying? And we get to right. That's what he's finna break. He's finna break it down. Go ahead.
Verse 2. Ye know that ye were Gentiles.
Ye what?
Were Gentiles.
Were Gentiles. Can I ask a question? If Gentiles meant people that are not Israelites, right? How can you were a Gentile? If Gentiles meant you were not Israelites ever, you've been a heathen. You're a heathen nation. How can you be a Gentile? Like how can you were a Gentile? No, it's not possible, because if you're a heathen nation, you're always a heathen. Keep going.
Carried away unto these dumb idols.
Right? Carried away unto these dumb idols, right? So when it says you were Gentiles, he's talking about somebody that used to live like a Gentile, but now they're not living like a Gentile. So now they're back into being in the fold into the Commonwealth of Israel. Because remember, you remember in Second Maccabees, they were carried away to dumb idols, Bacchus, the king's birth, and doing Greek customs. Now you say in past times you were Gentiles. Like you ain't Gentiles no more, because you were carried away unto these dumb idols.
Wouldn't that be like Christ said the lamb was, or like, I don't know, that might not be Christ, that might have been another story, but he said his sons or someone was out in the wilderness or out amongst the world, and he came home. He had a celebration for his sheep coming back home. It was like one sheep or something that got away, and we celebrated for one sheep coming home. Ain't that the same thing?
Caviar, do you know what she's talking about? I don't know what she's talking about. She might be saying the story wrong.
Yeah, it was a story about his son getting. He was like, he wasn't cast out. He just kind of went out.
Oh, she's talking about the story of the brother who went out and like ended up serving someone else, and then he came back.
The prodigal son?
Came back home.
Is it the prodigal son?
And they had a celebration over that one sheep instead of.
The prodigal son.
It's the prodigal son? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Isn't that the same thing, sort of like when the Gentiles become not Gentiles, they become not Gentiles anymore. They are Israelites.
Yeah, basically, because the Lord always the Lord loves us, so we can always come back to being Israelites. You know what I mean? We can always come back to being Israelites. Even the brothers that was in the Isupk and left off and started other religions, they can always come back. You know what I mean? They can always come back. It's up to them to not be prideful and come back. But they can always accept the Lord again. It's nothing. That's how the Lord feels. The Lord like, yeah, it's nothing. I know. That's why you're my people, because I know you're stiff-necked and rebellious. And just so you just carried away to dumb idols. You know what I mean? What's up, Caviar? You had a question? Now let's go to Ephesians. Maybe Corinth wasn't enough. Maybe Romans wasn't enough. Now let's go to Ephesians. Maybe in Ephesians he's talking to everybody. Just maybe. You never know. You never know. See, brother, look. So when he's talking about, I'm sorry, I like to play the Christian. You're so funny to me, man. You got it? Ephesians 1?
1:1?
Yep.
Let's look at Ephesians chapter 1 and verse 1. Paul, an apostle of Jesus Christ, by the will of God, to the saints which are at Ephesians.
Right. You feel me? He did it again. He called Ephesians now. Yeah. This is Paul, an apostle of Jesus Christ, by the will of God. You know what I'm talking about? Like, you feel me? To the saints. Now, what does the saints mean?
God's covenant
people Israel. God's covenant people Israel. Right? And to the faithful in Jesus Christ, or in Christ Jesus' life. The anointed Yahweh Shai. What? How it's so plain and simple, right? But Christians always going to get crossed up because they looking to save everybody. Right? Go to Ephesians 2 and 11.
said Ephesians 2?
2 and 11.
It's the book of Ephesians, chapter 2, verse 11. Wherefore, remember that ye being in time past Gentiles in the flesh.
How can you be Gentiles in the past? And that in the future, now you're not Gentile. Yeah.
Okay, because that was where you were worshiping in those lands. But now that you have come out of that, you are following the law, statutes, and commandments.
Right.
Now you are back into the covenants of Christ.
There you go. Look. Give the sister a head. You know what I'm talking about? Give the sister a head. Hey, that was excellent, sis. That was an excellent answer. You know what I'm talking about? Keep going, Caviar.
Who are called uncircumcised.
Uncircumcision.
Oh, sorry. Called uncircumcision by that which is called the circumcision in the flesh made by hands.
All right, stop. We all know about circumcision, right? About on the 8th day, how your son had to be circumcised, right? The people that was in Greece, the Israelites that were in Greece, that was in Ephesia, they probably wasn't getting circumcised because the priest had to come circumcise them. There was no priest out there. You know what I mean? Until Paul started setting churches up, and you know what I mean? They grew up uncircumcised. That's why it says called uncircumcision, by which that is called the circumcision.
So if you haven't been circumcised as a child, do you have to get it done?
No.
As an adult?
No. No, you don't. No, you don't. That was back then. Now, when Christ returns and we start so let's say, I don't want to use him as an example.
People who told me that they were going to get circumcised.
Ouch.
I know. That's what I said.
Ouch. It's better to do it when you're 8 days old and get it so you don't remember to pay.
That's right.
Yikes! Because if you do it when you're grown, wow. Yeah.
Was I circumcised when you were?
Both my sons were circumcised.
I don't want look. We ain't gotta talk about this, okay? We ain't gotta talk about this. We on camera. We ain't gotta talk about this. But let's say they weren't circumcised, right? Then they grow up and they have kids and they have sons. Those sons should be circumcised. Those sons should be circumcised. I don't want to hear this. Those sons should be circumcised, okay? Because that's how you're coming back to the covenant, basically. To afflict yourselves and have a little pain for the most high.
But it's not after the 8th day in this state.
I don't know. I don't have boys. It's not.
No.
You can request it, can you? Can't you?
You can. They do it while you're in the hospital, and you only have literally 3 to 4 days while you're in the hospital.
But can't you take the son? Can you take your son back to the hospital and tell them 8 days?
Yeah, but how hard is it going to be to get back in there to get that done? You can.
I don't know. Well, in Israel,
They do it right away. Seem like.
When Isupk, we have fathers, and our fathers are going to make sure that
That's good.
you know them
They
sons.
don't do that.
You know what I mean?
They be like, "Oh, you gonna get it done here now?" Right now?
I'm pretty sure we're gonna make sure. Nope, we come back in 8 days, player 7. You know what I'm talking about? That's why them kids. That's why them kids be in there crying like that. I would have to talk. I would have to talk to Officer Dawada about that. You know what I mean? Because I don't know how that would work. You know what I mean? But I know if I can come back on the 8th day, I'm just gonna come back on the 8th day. You know what I mean? And we're not gonna do no moil like the Jewish man, weird self. He was giving them Jewish kids herpes because they were sucking the penis, sucking the foreskin off the penis.
Madness.
You can look it up. Yes.
The sister said I did my son that 15 days old at his doctor's office.
Yeah, see, so you could do it. Yeah, you can wait. Yeah, because none but a little cut in the foreskin come off. It ain't no surgery. I hope. Huh?
We're supposed to do that?
What?
Like the father supposed to do that?
No.
No, you don't. I mean, I don't know. We in the ISUPK, the priest supposed to do it, but I don't know. I would have to talk to Officer Dalada. You know what I mean? Is that cool? I would have to talk to Officer Dalada to get the proper understanding of it. You dig what I'm saying? But I know for a fact that you don't. If you're grown up and you didn't, you know what I mean? You don't have to. You don't have to.
Castaways.
No, they're not considered castaways because you can come back to. I mean, what's the difference between you not being circumcised and you not celebrating Passover for the first 25 years, 30 years of your life? You know what I mean? I just celebrated my first Passover 3 years ago.
For some reason, somebody said that they wasn't allowed to attend Passover whenever they are not circumcised.
Get out of here. See that? See, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Like, you really asking another man about his.
I didn't.
No, I'm talking about, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, a man is asking another man about his Johnson. Are you circumcised, brother?
No. I think they was just curious in their own self and asked for their own self.
Oh, well, tell them they should definitely put the number up on the screen. Oh, they should definitely call that number and get counsel. Oh, they should definitely do. And quit leaning to thy own understanding. Because you're going to hurt yourself. You stop thinking for yourself and just let somebody think for you. Real talk. Stop thinking for yourself and let somebody think for you because you're going to hurt yourself out there. You know what I mean? Go ahead, Caviar. Verse 12.
Verse 12. That at that time ye were without Christ.
Right? Because at that time they were without Christ. They didn't know anything about this. Go ahead.
Okay. Being aliens from the commonwealth of Israel.
What does it mean by being aliens?
Being Gentiles.
Yeah, being Gentiles.
Outsiders.
Outcast, outsiders. Right? From the commonwealth of Israel. When it says commonwealth, what does that mean?
The lost testament, or like the kingdom of, or commonwealth of Israel. Like talking about like going to the feast days and whatever.
That's our commonwealth.
Feast days.
Did everybody celebrate Passover?
Not everybody.
You didn't give me the right answer.
Oh.
You said yeah.
It's like
My mama didn't celebrate Passover. That's what I'm saying. Did everybody celebrate Passover? But did we celebrate Passover? It's our commonwealth. It's our commonwealth. If Christ would have cracked them skies right then and there, it came back at that Passover and was like, yeah, come on, everybody. You think what I'm saying? Like, what about everybody else? You know what I'm talking about? Like, you feel me? I got your family on the what's the name? I know they didn't come to Passover because I couldn't afford it. I got them on the chariot right now. Let's go. You know what I'm talking about? Okay, yeah. What about the 1/3? They on the chariot already. Let's go. I came to get y'all last because y'all look like y'all was having a blast. I was having a good time out here, so I came to get y'all last. You feel me? Come on. You feel me? I better hurry up. What? What?
Detail. She said it's like dissecting frog on
Who?
This is sister.
Sis, we don't want to go in detail about that. Sis. Okay, we don't want to go in detail about what would you call it? About circumcision. Okay, we don't want that. We're just gonna let the doctors and the priests handle all that. We don't want. You know what I mean? You're gonna get us shut down. Yeah, take it off the screen. Yeah, we might get shut down for that. They be like, oh, they doing. Look at the IHPK doing sexual. No, we're not doing none of that. You know, we don't. You know what I mean? We don't want to go in details. Whatever happens in the, just make sure that they get circumcised. You know what I mean? But whatever happens in the hospital and what, you know what I mean? We're not trying to We're not trying to go in detail about circumcision. Keep going, Caviar.
And strangers from the covenants of promise.
Remember we was talking about strangers, right? See, these strangers right here are able to come back into the fold. These strangers right here are able to come back into be Israelites, but there's some strangers out there that are just strangers. You know what I mean? Like when it says the strangers shall be joined with them, talking about in Isaiah 14. Now those strangers are the heathen nations. You know what I mean? These strangers right here are the Israelites that was cast off, but now they're not strangers anymore. But they were strangers from the covenants and the promise. Go ahead.
Having no hope and without God in the world.
Right, because they didn't have no hope. For Israelites, without the Most High being around, being with us, we ain't got no hope. Just look at everybody outside of the ISUPK. Just look at them. They ain't got no hope. You know what I mean? I was watching something the other day about a brother. A brother sent his cousin to go talk to his woman to see if she would cheat, and he ended up in the bed with her and having sex with her and everything. And I was like, wow, you feel me? And she was just nonchalant about it, did not care. You know what I mean? She's like, I'll pay you $700. You don't tell. You on video camera right now. Like, it's crazy.
Wow.
It's crazy. And she thought that she was never going to get found out because he didn't know her man, but it was his cousin. It just the things that go on in the world. You know what I mean? Yesterday, Commander General Yohana was talking about Maury Povich and Jerry Springer dying, and then they were talking about how they made millions and millions of dollars off of our plight, off of our mishaps. You know what I mean? And I remember watching them shows.
Their daughters' boyfriends.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Off of our sins. And that's terrible. That's a terrible thing right there. That's what happens, though. That's what happens when we don't have the Most High. We don't have a morality system. So we end up doing any and everything. And it's always happened to be for the money. And with that, we're the ISUPK, start out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yohana. We've been teaching Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans the truth of the Bible since 1969. And I passed the class to Priest and Officer Capior.
Everything.
You said what?
It was under everything.
It was under everything.
Oh no, I was talking about the biology. Right. This is the ISUPK security announcements. We are the ISUPK shout out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother and sister comes into a school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They're here to shed themselves over the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After the 6 month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. You can find this in the book of Numbers, chapter 18, verse 21, and the book of Malachi, chapter 3, verse 8 through 10. Mishra means tenth in the Hebrew. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Give to the treasury department or teacher. Priest funds. We will offer for priests, not mandatory, whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocations. Feast of first fruits starts after the Sabbath, unleavened bread, sundown Sunday, April 9th, 2023. Count 50 days. Celebrate the 50th day, starting Monday, May 29th, 2023. Start before sundown. And you can find this book, you can find this in the book of Leviticus, chapter 23, verse 10 through 22. And if anybody wants to be a trooper in the school, to start wearing all black, boots, shirts, pants, headband, and scarves. And this concludes the ISUPK security announcements. Here we with that? Everybody on Majum? Saw? We'll pop behind with them. Like, turn the face east. Like, you know, we're going to read the Lord's Prayer and last one, Kodash. Abanawa. Shabbat Shemayim. Kodash. Hayah. Shemka. Yahweh. Balatoka. Taba'ah. Watazayaka. Hayah. Aisha. Ba'arataza. Kawa. Hayah. Bashaman. Nathanael. Nakam. Ka. Yawom. Wasalakna. Kabawathna. Kasalakna. Kabawathina. Wahala. Tabi'ayna. Banasai 1. Abba. Aishayna. Mayan. Ra. Kaya. Laka. Hamalakwa. Wahala. Wataparath. Lalami. Amen.
Now we're going to do the Lord's Prayer in English. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done. In earth. As it is in heaven. Give us this day. Our daily bread. And forgive us our debts. As we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation. But deliver us. From evil. For thine is the kingdom. And the power. And the glory. Forever. So be it.
Okay. In the song, turn your face to front. You can, ladies, you can Mashabi, right? Mashabi? Yeah, Mashabi. Yeah. Now we're going to give one courtesy salute to the brothers. Individual Amajim Shabbat. Amajim. Barak. Yahweh Ba'ashim Yashar Barakatah. Yajim Matah. Says you can stand. You want to turn your face to sisters. Going to give one courtesy salute to sisters. Individual Amajim Shabbat. Amajim. Barak. Yahweh Shema Atah Ba'ashim Yahweh.
Bahashem Yahawashah.
Yajim Matah. Class dismissed.
Yeah.